I was chatting with a mum once, and she was telling me about the moment she realized something felt different with her 2-year-old son. She was at the park with them and they were having a wonderful day. It was sunny. He was going up and down the slide and obviously on the swing, which I think is every 2-year-old's favorite thing to do. But then another little boy ran and said excitedly, "Look, I'm climbing to the top." And she was hoping this boy was 3 or 4, but they looked the same age. And she found out they were the same age later on, chatting with the boy's mum. And while this child was chatting, asking questions, showing his mum everything he was doing, her son wasn't. He was silent. He was smiling. He was pointing. He was laughing. He was pulling her. But the words weren't coming. And what she was explaining to me, that the hardest part wasn't that he wasn't talking. She could see his joy. She could understand what he wanted, what he liked. She could share that moment with him. But what was on her mind was that constant question of why. Hello, everyone out there that absolutely adores their autistic child. Today, I want to talk about something that is just at the forefront of everyone's mind when they're on this journey. And it is, why isn't my autistic child talking? And if your autistic child isn't talking yet, the most important question isn't when will they talk? It's what might be blocking communication for them in their brain. If your child isn't talking yet, you're probably living with a constant question running through the forefront of your mind every day. Will they ever talk? I've been there myself. I've had that worry consume my everything as a mum. And you might be like me. You might watch other children their age chatting away, asking questions, telling stories, and then you look at your own child and wonder why words aren't coming. You might be wondering, what are they thinking right now? What would they like to tell me? And many parents tell me that they feel so stuck between two very painful thoughts. One voice says maybe they just need more time. They're on their own schedule. It will come when it's supposed to come. But then there's that other voice that quietly asks, what if they never talk? What does that look like for them, for me? And that uncertainty is so heavy and so difficult to live with. But what I want you to know and understand is this. When a child is not talking yet, the issue is often much deeper than like the output of speech itself. I want you to think of it like this. Speech is the very last step of communication. Before a child can say that word out loud, before they say mama for the first time, tell you how they feel or about their day, several things need to actually happen first in their brain. What they need to do is, first, they need to understand what words mean. They then need to connect these words together to build pictures and ideas in their mind. They then need to be able to organize these thoughts, these ideas, these memories, and connect all of that together so it can come back out as language. And if any part of that system is struggling, and believe me, this is something that is unique to every child. Like there are different parts of that system that might be weaker than the others. But what the end result is that speech and communication can become incredibly difficult. So imagine trying to describe a movie to someone, but the movie never actually plays in your mind. It's almost like a black and white comic book that only shows like 4 main parts. You're going to be left searching for words that don't really exist. And for many autistic children, this is exactly what communication feels like for them. Biggest differences researchers have found in autistic brains relates to something called mental imagery. So when most people hear language, their brain automatically creates a picture. That's why most people love reading books, because they see something when they're reading it. It's why you can tell your friend about the latest vacation you went on, what was the best restaurant, the best beach, best hotel to stay at because you have that mental imagery. Say something simple like the fish swam in the tank, you can probably picture a fish, right? Someone's fish might be a goldfish, someone's fish might be like a koi or something like that, but everyone can picture a fish. Some people might picturing it swimming fast, people might picture it swimming slow. Some people might picture a big tank with lots of cool, colorful coral in it. Others might picture a small fishbowl. But we can all create that mental imagery for this sentence. And another important distinction is this is happening instantly and subconsciously. However, some autistic children hear the words, but they don't have that internal picture forming clearly. So for some autistic children, this is breaking down at the one word level, where if something is more than one or two words, they're struggling to understand the meaning. For others, it's a sentence. So they might be able to picture the fish swam in the tank, but if it is a whole paragraph, they're going to zone out. And for others, they might be able to picture and understand a whole paragraph, but when it is pages or the teacher talking extensively about something at school, they might not be able to form those pictures. And what is happening is the words are staying as sounds rather than becoming ideas. So when someone asks them a question like, "How was school today?" their brain doesn't easily pull up the mental movie that then helps them to explain it. And this is why some children know lots of vocabulary, but they still struggle to communicate. Another important part of the brain involved in communication is the part that's responsible for organizing those thoughts. And this area helps us plan what we want to say. Sometimes you have to really make sure that what you're saying is what you want to say and what you intend to say. Putting words into sentences, staying on topic, and also explaining things clearly. And many autistic children experience different in how this system works. So even when they do understand something internally, so you could say like, is this an apple or a banana? And they pick the banana. And then you say, okay, which one is the banana? And they show you the banana. Their brain might have difficulty organizing that internal information back out into language. And what this can often, be seen as is no responses to questions, hand pulling, pointing, short responses, repeating words that aren't really like functional words. They might be kind of favorite scripts from TV or anything that they're interested in, and particularly a difficulty in answering questions too. But what I want you to understand is underneath all of that, your child is very probably trying so hard to communicate with you. Another factor that is going to play a huge role in your child's communication development is undoubtedly motivation, right? Communication is going to grow fastest when a child feels interested, safe, connected, and engaged with the people around them. And unfortunately, if there is a child who is struggling to communicate, number one, this is going to be something that is hardest for them in the world, right? Think about what is hardest for you right now. How motivated are you going to be to get up and do that every single day? And secondly, unfortunately, they've already experienced so much unsuccess with this. They haven't experienced much success with their communication around them, at home, at school, with peers, with extended family. And this is going to have an impact on their motivation as well, like it would with you and I. If we went to work every single day, and first of all, it was the hardest thing in the world, and second of all, you are not feeling that success, you're not going to want to go to work every day. Let me tell you that now. But many autistic children are also experiencing the world very differently from a sensory perspective too. There's busy environments, overwhelming noise, constant demands that in addition to everything else makes that communication feel extra exhausting. Their systems are having to do so much. So instead of reaching outward and like really trying with their communication, every day, their brain is going to be focused on regulating itself and protecting itself too, which is why that connection, trust, and shared engagement are such an important starting point. So the encouraging part of all of this is that the brain is incredibly adaptable. You've probably heard of the term neuroplasticity, but it is essentially some magic that goes on in the brain that can make things so much easier. And the connections that are involved in this communication can grow stronger. They can get smoother. They can get quicker at communicating with each other. But that happens most effectively when our therapy and focus is on developing those underlying brain systems, not just trying to get a child to repeat words. When we support imagery, processing, and connection, language often begins to emerge naturally. We're not having to teach the child every single word in the dictionary because their brain is able to pick it up from everyday life. They can put sentences together because their brain is able to process that meaning and form these words all by itself. So if you are watching this, you're most likely a parent who loves their autistic child so much, but you're wondering why they're not talking yet. Please know this. Communication development is not just about speech. It is all about how the brain builds meaning. And when we support those deeper systems, we can begin to open that door towards true communication. If you'd like to learn more about how to support the brain connections that help autistic children develop communication, just for you and those parents out there loving their autistic child, I've created a free masterclass where I walk parents through the key principles and strategies. You can find the link below this video, and I'll show you where communication development really begins.